11 Plus Problem of the Week, Week 8. Let's have a look at this week's question. So, Malia and Josie are cutting squares from the corners of rectangular sheets of paper. Malia's sheet of paper is 11 centimetres by 12 centimetres. After her square corner is cut off, the area of paper she is left with is 68 centimetres squared. What is the length of one side of the square she cuts out? Just a reminder that in questions like this, if ever you see a diagram, that diagram won't be to scale, so don't let that trick you into thinking certain things about the shape. Let's underline any important information. So they're cutting squares from the corners of rectangles, so it's a square that they're cutting. Now, Malia's sheet of paper is 11 by 12. Well, we can actually draw that onto this diagram we've got. So let's draw 12 by 11. And then after her square corner is cut off, the area of the paper she is left with is 68 centimetres. So what she's left with is 68 centimetres. What's the length of one side of the square she cuts out? So let's think about what we know first of all. Well, we know that Malia's sheet of paper is, let's use a different colour, is 11 by 12. So we've written that above, let's do it again. 11 by 12. Well, let's work out what the area of this piece of paper is. Well, 11 times 12 is 132 centimetres square. So the area of her piece of paper originally is 132 centimetres squared. Now it tells us that she cuts off the corner, so whatever size that is, that's what she's cutting off, and she's left with 68. So that means this is 68, this is something else, and altogether it's going to equal 132. Well, if it was originally 132, we can take away 68, and that will tell us what she cut off. Well, 132 take away 68 is 64. So that tells me that this little bit, this cut off bit, must have an area of 64. And we can check that by saying the area of this is 64, the area of the whole thing is 132. So 68 plus 64 is 132. So the next part is working out what's the length of one side of the squares she cuts out. Well, the important bit here is that it is a square she's cut out. So this shape that she's cut out is a square. That means all of the sides are the same. Well, if the area is 64, because it's a square, I'm looking for a squared number. I'm looking for something times something gives me 64. Well, I know that 8 squared is 64, so that means one side of that square must be 8, because 8 times 8 would give me 64. So I know that she cuts out a square and one of the sides measures 8 centimetres. Now it's your turn. Read through the question carefully, have a go at working it out, and then we'll check back and see how you did. How did you get on? Let's go through the answers. So Kyle has a piece of paper. I'm going to sketch that. It measures 14 by 16. So first of all, let's work out the area of the piece of paper he has. So I need to do 14 times 16. And 14 times 16 is 224. So the area of his piece of paper is 224. It then says that he cuts a square from one of the corners, and the area of the paper he's left with is 199 centimetres squared. So if the original piece of paper was 224 and he's left with 199, if I subtract those from each other, that should give me that square that he cut out. So 224 take away 199 is 25. So that means that this little square that he cut out measures 25 centimetres squared. The area is 25 centimetres squared. Now, we know it's a square, and a square means that all four sides are the same. And if the area is 25, then that means it's a square number, because something times something must give me 25. And I know that 5 squared is 25, so that means that one of the sides is 5 centimetres. So the answer to the question is 5 centimetres is the length of one of the sides of the square. How did you do? So if you got that right, you can move on to the worksheet and have a try at some of those questions. If you got it wrong, have a rewind and have a look back through again. Watch the video again and see where you need to do more practice. Well done.